All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Alexander. I'm from F6S team. I would like to welcome you all to the first EDI webinar for the open call for startups. At this time, we have a strict agenda. We have a lot of interesting speakers, and we would like to introduce you to our program and everything you can expect from us. So to give you a few things and insights, this meeting will be recorded. You are all muted and are requested to stay muted. When the time comes for Q&A, please state your name of the startups and the question in the chat, and we'll read it out loud. And our team will try to answer your questions as best as possible. The agenda for today goes like following. We have Diego Ipina from Dusto, our coordinator, who will give you the insight into the program and the overall information. We have Sarah Mateo from Zabala, who is in charge of open call and will give you insights into the guidelines and the important tips of the application procedure. We have Christoph Nuthart, our data provider from UBIMET, who will give their insights into their approach from the project. And we also have two of our alumni, Lauri Ilsen from Feelingstream and Gilberto Lem from Orbem, who will share their experience from their participation in the program as well as the application procedure. When all of that has been concluded, we'll proceed with the Q&A. And as I said, please write your name of your startup and the question in the chat, and we'll read it out loud. So I will like to invite Diego to start off. Diego, please.
Okay, so good morning to everybody and welcome to this webinar of the Open Call 3. I want to thank my colleagues from F6S for organizing this webinar, and also our data provider representative from UBIMET and the two alumni, well, not alumni, they're still on board, the two startups from round 2 that are going to be talking today. Okay, so again, welcome to this webinar. What is EDI? EDI, European Data Incubator, is a project that goes from the 1st of January 2018 till the 30th of June 2021. We were given 5 million euros to spread aim on companies in Europe willing to address with data-driven solutions the problems that big data corporations may have. Originally, we were 20 members in the consortium, 5 of them, the core consortium, Deusto, Success, Adventure, Zabala, and Engineering are the ones running the program, and the other 15 members are actually data providers that are facilitating the data sets. During the execution of the project, we have managed to incorporate another 9 new data providers in different sectors that are also providing challenges and data sets for you to innovate around big data. Okay, so this diagram actually shows what EDI is about. It's actually about bringing together data providers and startups. Data providers, they have a lot of data sets. They have many challenges, issues they would like to address by processing those data sets. But sometimes they lack the time, the resources, the skills in AI, big data analytics, in order to accomplish those challenges. Therefore, with the support of EDI, which is basically an incubator spread in the 3 stages that you see on the screen, startups are selected, they start the incubation program, they receive some mentoring and equity-free funding, and they come back with marketable solutions. Solutions that can reach the market, and that the first customer of those solutions should ideally be the original data provider. So in essence, EDI is about boosting big data business generation, as you can see on the screen. It is an 8-month-long incubator where there are some physical events in Bilbao and Berlin. And as I said, we bring together big data corporations and SMEs, startups willing to address the challenges of those corporations. So EDI is actually about solving real-life big data challenges for corporates. So you can imagine all sorts of problems, from improving road safety to predicting fraudulent transactions to identifying patterns in digital campaigns, and many more. On the screen, you can see a listing of the 15 plus 9, 24 data providers that are on board in the project, and that they are providing data sets in the sectors of energy and environment, retail, transport and logistics, internet and media, agri-food, gaming, sports, smart cities, finance, and health. Okay. So, as I said, we solve real-world challenges. So, for instance, in round one, Volkswagen was providing some data sets that basically describe how their thermal power plant was operating, and they were worried that the behavior of such power plant was not efficient at all. So there was a company in round one of EDI that tackled this challenge with these data sets that were made available to them and produced a solution where a smart tuning of that thermal plant could take place in order to reduce gas consumption, make more optimal the operation of this power plant. Okay, so what does EDI offer you? Well, we offer you a dedicated coach that is going to follow up the process and is going to support you during the whole incubation process. You're going to be offered several remote and also face-to-face workshops in the events that we will organize in Bilbao and Berlin. Very importantly, we're going to provide you money provided by the European Commission in order to make reality the solutions that address big data corporations. We are also offering a cloud environment where you may run the experiments, and also we will try to liaise you with other corporates, with some future investors that may put some money in the ideas, in the solutions that you will be able to produce thanks to your participation in EDI. As I said, the incubator is divided in 3 phases. First, you explore the big data sets, try to understand them well, try to come up with a mock-up of a solution. Then you basically materialize an MVP where you also have already a business plan. And if you qualify to the last and third stage, you try to launch to the market your solution. As you can see, by 17th of June, we are expecting to get your applications. This is the period we will be using to select those companies that are going to take part in round 3. About 35 teams will be selected for Explore. Another 18 will pass for the experiment. And finally, 8 teams will qualify for the Evolve stage. As you can see, the money you get varies and the duration of those phases too. In fact, this diagram is giving you a high-level view of how this thing works, how data sets, challenges are brought together into proposals that are evaluated, mock-ups are produced at the end of Explore, MVPs are delivered at the end of Experiment, big data solutions ready for the market are delivered at the end of the Evolve stage. So, this innovation that we are seeking from you is triggered by the data sets and the challenges that have been made available in Call 3. There are 3 ways to participate, and my colleague Sarah from Zavala will give you further details about it, but essentially you will have a set of already defined challenges that you may choose to tackle, to select as the solution to be produced by you during the incubator. You also have access to the data sets made available by 18 data providers. Some data providers, they have only made available data sets, not challenges. And you can use your imagination to mix those data sets in the second form of participation with other open data sets or with data sets that you have access to. This is the half and half modality. We are seeking cross-domain challenges that mix data sets from our data providers with other data sets and where you imagine challenges. And finally, we have the free choice way of participating where you may bring your own data provider into the incubator with its corresponding data sets and challenge. Okay, so well, these are the domains that are being offered in Call 3. If you browse to the web page linkable from here, you will see something like this screenshot where you will be able to understand what are the challenges that have been posed by your data providers. Okay, you, as I said, will be offered also a computation environment where you may deploy your big data solutions. As you can see, we use a Hadoop-based stack that offers all the suite of tools that are commonly used in big data analytics. So this is a fully documented environment, free to use by you if you qualify to the experiment and explore stages of the incubator. Okay, so now I will produce a small video that is going to basically show you all about the project. EDI innovates around big data with two inputs. On one hand, some corporations formulate some challenges that they currently have. On the other hand, they exhibit some data sets that can be used to come up with innovative ideas.
Coach at the European Data Incubator project is very motivating. Since November, we go along with the teams and we assess the progress while they are developing a solution for the challenge. It's amazing to see how at the final event of the experiment phase, the solution that they present usually successfully accomplishes the challenge.
Feelingstream is solving a free choice challenge at EDI program. It means that we took our own data provider and we selected their problem to solve during the EDI program. Feelingstream transcribes, classifies and visualizes existing customer conversations in order to bring out the business challenges for product owners or how to find the sales leads out of the conversations. This is what Feelingstream does.
Okay, so this is the video of our program. This is the list of data providers that are providing data sets in Call 3. I encourage you to visit the data catalog that we are offering in the project to be able to understand what kind of data sets are being made available by them. This is, we keep a portfolio with the solutions that were created by companies in round 1 and round 2. So probably the best approach for you to know or figure out what you should be proposing, what kind of product you should be creating, is to browse through the already solutions that already produce solutions thanks to EDI in the past 2 rounds. So I invite you to go to our website, and under the Our Startups link, you can browse through the portfolios of round 1 and round 2 startups, okay? Some of them, for instance, Orbem is going to be presenting you today what they are doing in round 2, which hasn't finished. Just okay. So these are some pictures of the actual teams and members of the consortium that participate in the different events, so that you realize that we exist and that we actually like to get together. Hopefully the COVID-19 situation soon disappears and we will have the chance to organize our face-to-face events as usual. This is just a testimonial of one of the companies that are participating in the last stage of round 2, the company called UBIMET. And this is the postcard, the leaflet we prepared to encourage you to take part in our incubator, where again there is a summary of what we offer. And here there is a clear reminder about the incubator dates, that you have to submit your proposal by 17th of June, and what will happen in case that you are selected, that you will be with us from September 2020 till April 2021. Should you have any doubts or whatever, you can contact us through the different channels. And this is it. Remember that you have to apply. And now I pass the floor to my colleague, Sara from Zavala.
Thank you, Diego, and hello, everybody. I will explain now more in detail the process for the application. So I will share my screen now. Okay. So, we will review how the submission process is defined and how to prepare the proposal. We will also review the eligibility condition to participate in the program. And also we will finish with the evaluation procedure and the results communication. So as Diego already explained, we have a very interesting and appealing program for the next months, but now we are in a previous phase, in the submission phase, where you have to prepare your proposal to be submitted through the official channel in F6S. This will last until the 17th of June, and during this time you have a lot of time to prepare a good proposal. If you are determined to do this, the first thing that we recommend is to read the guidelines and the facts. The guidelines is a document prepared for the applicants to really know which are the rules, the conditions for participation, to know how to submit the proposal, how the program will work, the funding you can request. All these things are contained in these guidelines. So the first step to succeed in the process is to read it. Also, in our website, there is a specific section for frequently asked questions that is useful. So get ready checking all these things. The next thing is to really focus on the track of your interest. Diego already explained how have been defined. So there are 3 tracks for participation with some differences. So now we will see every track a bit more in detail. The first one is the ready-made. In this case, there are a list of challenges already defined and prepared by our data providers. In these challenges, they explain what they are looking for, which are their problems or needs, and the expected outcomes. They also share the samples of their datasets that must be used to solve these challenges. So if you say, okay, I'm going to see if any of the challenges that are available are in my field of work, you can go to our website, and I will show you how to do it. So you can go to the EDI website and say, okay, I go to the call that it's open right now. So you will be redirected to this section of our website. And here you have the 3 main tracks for this call. So, okay, I'm going to check if any of the challenges proposed are of my interest. So you can go here. And you can see all the list of challenges available. So for example, okay, I'm working in the field of health. I'm familiar with this kind of big data solutions in this field. So you have, for example, here the challenge from Ibermutua. This is an insurance company, and they explain here what's the challenge. They describe the challenge. Here you have an access link to the data samples that are publicly available now. Only samples, because if you are selected, you will have access to the full data sets. And here you can see the outcomes they expect. So, okay, it's good, it fits your interests, and you choose a predefined challenge. So you go to track 1. Okay, this is one option. So perhaps you review the list and the challenges proposed are not really of your interest. So you have a second option, track 2. In this track 2, the condition is that you have to use at least 2 data sets, and it's compulsory to use at least one EDI data set. The second data set can also be an EDI dataset from one of our data providers, or it can be open source or a dataset from that you own. It doesn't matter. This is another second option. So if you want to check this second option, you can go to the half and half track, and you are redirected to this web. Here you can check in our CCAN all the data sets that are available to imagine, to propose new solutions that you can be interested in. So using this data and another data, you can propose whatever you want. To also support applicants in this kind of track, we have the consortium has imagined and proposed some cross-domain challenges. We have we want to inspire you, so we have proposed here 4 different inspirational examples. So for example, you can check what we mean with track 2. You can use, for example, data from UBIMET, weather data, also from RAC, with data from traffic in a specific area, and also to use open data from the region of Euskadi. So with the mix of these different data, 2 of them are datasets from EDI, you can propose a solution to predict the on-road incident. This is an example, but you can propose other kind of challenges. So this is under track 2. But imagine that this is not your track where you want to apply, and you want to explore how to do it under track 3. Under this modality, you can apply your own challenge with your own data provider and with your own data sets. So the condition here is that you have to apply with this data provider committed with you to carry out this challenge. So during the submission of the proposal, they will have to fill a form where they provide some information and will confirm that they are committed to participate and support you providing data sets. In addition, if you submit this proposal, before the evaluation of your proposal, we will request a memorandum of understanding from these data providers to really verify that they are aware and they are committed with the participation. Well, so some insights about how to do it if you apply with your own data provider. You go to free choice track, and here you can go to the apply now on F6S, and you are entering the form. So here you see the form, and pay attention at the beginning of the form where there are some indications depending on if you apply to track 1, to track 2, or to track 3. So if you apply to track 3, you will have to fill the questions for track 3 that starts in question number 6. And here in the question number 8, there is a question that has a link to a Google form that must be filled by your data provider. Here is the key of track 3. They must fill this form when apply with you to track 3, okay? Okay, and let's continue. So there are 3 different tracks. You have to choose the one that fits your idea. And once you have everything clear about it, you should submit your proposal at F6S through the following link, and before the 17th of June. So I go again to the form, and sorry for this screen changes, but I would like to reinforce a message. The form has a lot of text with instructions and guidance, so read it carefully. The key aspects of what we expect in each section is reflected here in the form. So read all the information. For example, I will give you some tips about also some questions where we have identified some errors in the past. In section 65, for example, you are requested with some financial figures. There is an official template you have to use that it's download here. So fill it with your financial figures and upload it. If you fail in this step, this is a very, very big mistake. So please read it carefully and upload it as indicated in the question. For example, if you are an early stage company, perhaps you don't have financial figures from your past accounting years. This is normal, but at least you will be able to provide some estimations for future years. So don't keep it blank, read it carefully and fill it according to our instructions, okay? This is just a tip I wanted to share with you. And let's continue. Well, so for your proposal submission, you have to fill the online form in F6S, the declaration of honor that it's included in the form. You just have to click on the appropriate question. And then if you apply to track 3, remember to fill also the Google Drive form that it's linked to your application. Regarding eligibility, these are the rules that you have to fulfill to be legally allowed to be selected. So I will review very briefly the conditions. In terms of applicants, we are allowed to select SMEs or groups of individuals, not really established yet, groups from 2 to 4 experts that are in an EU or associated country according to Horizon 2020 rules. All the information about it is also contained in the guidelines. Also, we look for original work. So don't copy previous works. And here also there is something new to explain to you, in the past, in previous calls, we were not selecting companies already funded under Data Pitch program. But now in this new call, we will select Data Pitch companies if they are selected under the evaluation rules, with the only exception that we cannot double fund them for the specific same challenge. So always they propose a new solution, something different than the one funded under Data Pitch, you are eligible in this third call. Also, there is here a restriction about the participation in EDI previous calls. If you were selected and funded in our first and second call, you cannot participate anymore. The use of data from our catalog is mandatory, except if you apply to track 3. Consider also an eligibility issue. And 4 more things: use big data tools, as this is a big data incubator. Fill the proposal with valid information. Justify always your challenge. If you select a challenge under track 1, justify how you will solve it. And the last thing is that multiple participation is not allowed. It applies to SMEs, legal entities, but also to individuals. If you are in a group of 4 or 3 or 2 individuals, you cannot apply a new proposal with another group of individuals, okay? And well, this is the eligibility criteria, but in this project in EDI, we have also other conditions. The automatic sorting, these are some quality indicators, quality performance indicators, red flags. They are not public. They will be publicly available after the third call. And are some information that we check to see if the applicants are really fit our program, our EDI program. So we will check these indicators in a different way, depending on if they are early stage companies or groups, or if they are established companies with more than 3 years. The third thing we will check is the evaluation, the external evaluation. So once you pass the eligibility filter and also the red flags filter, you will be evaluated according to technical approach, business potential, and team composition. All the 3 things are evaluated from 0 to 5. And the threshold, the individual threshold in this category, in each category, is 3 points out of 5. And the total threshold for the whole proposal is 12 out of 15. Apart from this, our evaluators will also check the challenge fit. So if you propose something that is out of the scope, the scope of this call, also the proposal would be discarded. And here you have the summary, a graph summarizing the process, how the proposal is checked in terms of eligibility, red flags, and if everything goes well, go to remote evaluation, where the result can be a rejection letter, a waiting list, or a pre-selected invitation. This communication of results will be provided in all the cases. It doesn't matter if you are rejected or selected. And the deadline for this, it's by the end of July. After that, the selected participants would be invited to sign the subgrantee agreement. And that's it from my side. Just to remind you that the application is open until the 17th of June. And pay attention to the timing, because it is closing at midday, not at midnight. Okay, and here the link to apply. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I invite Christoph to from UBIMET, our data provider, to introduce themselves and give us their insights. I also want to point out to be mindful of the agenda. Go ahead, Christoph.
Yeah, hi, my name is Christoph. I'm representing UBIMET, a data provider since the beginning of EDI. So we took part in, we took part in the last 2 calls and will take part in the upcoming 3rd call. We were once a startup ourselves. We were founded in 2004 by a chemist and a meteorologist, and we have now become the largest private weather service provider in Austria and are within the top 5 in Europe. So what do? We provide meteorological services to businesses, and this we do with around-the-clock support by real meteorologists compared with high-precision meteorology from digital models that we operate. And one of them is our refined atmospheric condition evolution model, which is an HPC compute model that produces our own numerical weather predictions. Our goal is to set new standards in global meteorology. And with that, with our locations that you can see on the right-hand side, with our headquarters in Vienna, Austria, we are a global provider providing services wherever businesses take place, not only within specific countries. And we're strongly focused on research and development with 25% of our revenue that we put into research and development every year. So with that in mind, our goal is to make our customers faster, more efficient, and more cost conscious. Just to give you a brief overview about where we research, of course, one area is intelligent systems. That's also the reason why we take part here in the EDI Incubator. But we also looking at energy, mobility, and secure society solutions. For this 3rd call in EDI, we are taking part in track 1 with our ready-made challenge, and that is to detect changes in large data sets. And with changes, we mean both anomalies or also step changes. So if the characteristics of parameters change from data set to data set. As we are a meteorological company, of course, this relates to meteorological parameters, but we are really looking here at big data solutions on how to achieve this. It is not necessary to have a meteorological background for taking part in this challenge. I'd like to point out that we do not just want to see changes in parameters in general, because temperatures, for example, they are higher in the summer than they are in the winter, and this is of course not an issue, but we want to see changes in the characteristics. So for example, if in multiple seasons there is a bias in certain parameters, for example, this would be one kind of characteristic that can be identified. And as I said, we run HPC compute models. We need really a scalable solution that can process the data in near real time, meaning that currently we produce about 150 megabytes of data per minute with 320 meteorological parameters. So that would be one of the challenges within our ready-made challenge. What do we expect? We provide you with data sets from our race weather model, and we want to know if you observe any changes from model run to model run. This means we need to have identified the affected parameter that has changed its characteristics, as well as the time step and dataset from which this change was detected. If you would like to apply for this track 1 challenge, please select the EDI 2020-18 UBIMET challenge for that. And also you can find more information on the EDI Incubator webpage. But this is not all. We provide to EDI, we provide 3 kinds of data sets for this third call. One is the model data from our race weather model. Please bear in mind that on the EDI website, you can download sample data sets only. So you can use them to demonstrate or to try to work with the data to get yourself familiarized with it, but only if you're selected to progress in EDI, you will have access to the full data sets. So for the race model data, we have made 2 model runs available that you can compare. But of course, when you're selected, you can get up to 2 runs per day with 66 hours of forecast horizon for the last 2.5 years. Furthermore, we provide weather data, which is analyzed weather data on in a gridded data format that you can use for track 2. And we provide climate indices, which have been calculated and prepared within the project Meteo Value. It is specific to road traffic. And here the full data set is computed over the past 30 years and made specifically for North Rhine-Westphalia. But it might give you a hint or indication on how to transform specific issues to your challenge. With that, we have the track 2, which is also an option to work in EDI with us. I will not go much into detail because Sarah already mentioned it. We have provided an exemplary cross-domain challenge. It is not mandatory to take this. It is just one idea of how you can use our data together with other data providers and open data. And one example here was the on-route incident prediction. And for that, we would, for example, also recommend to take a look at mCloud, which is a service from Germany, which provides open source data on traffic. And we have open data sources available. And here you could use the incident database provided by RAC, our weather reanalysis data that we are making available in the data catalog, as well as climate indicators, because then you know how to work with the data for tackling this challenge. Now, what can you expect if you work with us? So far we had a startup in both of the last calls, in the first and in the second call. In the first call, it was the company Amigo, and they made it successfully into the evolve stage with their product Zoom, which was a station outlier detection service. That was a track 1 ready-made challenge from us. And in the previous year, we had we still are working with Better Cities, who are currently in the evolve phase, and they made it into the evolve phase via track 2. Within the incubation, we will work with you to find solutions to the challenge. So we're able to give you advice from meteorological domain, and our goal here is to solve the challenges through cooperation and giving you hints on how to work with the data. So why do we take part as UBIMET as a weather service provider in EDI? First of all, we want to get your perspective on the challenges we face, because as a weather service provider, we take all our challenges from a meteorological side, and sometimes it is really helpful to get a new perspective, and big data here offers a great opportunity for us to explore big data options to solve our challenges. We value your input as machine learning experts, and we're also always interested to find startups that will help us to not only being but staying a front runner in the metrological business, so to get new cooperation partners so we can provide the best services for our customers. And with that, I thank you, and if you have questions, I'm later also available at the Q&A.
Thank you, Christoph. Now I invite Laurie Ilsen from Feelingstream.
Yes, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, hey, my name is Laurie Ilsen. I'm CTO of Feelingstream, and I would like to share over the next 7-10 minutes the journey that we have had. We selected the third track. So we brought our own data provider, Telia. Telia is actually largest telecom operator in the Northern Europe, operating in Sweden, in Finland, in Baltics. And as we help companies to figure out what is actually happening with their customer conversations, so in the phone calls, in their email conversations, but also in the chatbot conversation. And we do this in regional languages like Finnish, Swedish, Russian, Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian, and so forth. So our aim was to actually enhance our platform to support our data provider even further. So during the program, we have enhanced the capability of the platform in order to also take the chatbot conversations and apply the analytics on top of that in order to find out the upsell leads or win-back leads or quality leads. It creates more sales, it prohibits the churn, and provides the clear visibility. And I need to tell you that you know, we all live in this COVID-19 issue now. In a case where businesses are operating remotely, people are, you know, pushed to be at the home office. Our data provider has been really, really lucky to have a visibility. If your front desk employees are at home, now they actually can see what is talked, what is spoken in those conversations. Over the program, we worked really, really hard with our data provider. And at the current stage, we are actually in production with the developments that we did during the program with our data provider. But that's a background. I actually would like to give you some that kind of whys and what's the experience that we saw or had with the European Data Incubator. First of all, we had a free choice challenge, and the thing that we do is the only thing for the team. So we have a 6-people team, and this is the only one product. It's not any kind of side business. So our full focus was on the program. And there are several wins that I would like to highlight here. First of all, EDI has a very good step-by-step process. Even if it might feel in the beginning that, oh, we have so many steps, but I consider that this is a good way of keeping you on track, because you have always those small milestones to reach. You need to do this, and that. And this actually helps to keep the focus. There is a tight schedule. So you really need to deliver what you promise, and this is cross-checked. EDI has very good KPI system, I would say. It covers the tech, but also the business side. Sometimes it happens that we focus as engineers too much on the tech side, but actually the business is also important. So the sales, the marketing, those are the things that you should be executing during the program, and this KPI system was helping us a lot to ensure that we have it. I have had a lot of coaching over the years, and I need to admit that the EDI ones are one of the best. So it's not like, like a coaching by the name, but it's really deep coaching. And sure, especially in those crisis times, it is equity fee funding. So as you know, as a startups, it might be tricky at those days to get the funding from the private investors or angels. So any that kind of equity-free funding is really valuable now. And there is a huge access and for networks investors. So those are the ones that we actually, I could consider that our wins of the program. I was also asked to give you some kind of insight regarding the application submission. Okay, what it is and where you should actually focus. So I put some notes here regarding that. Take care of what you submit. Be understandable for the persons who don't know the content. We had some difficulties to explain what we actually do because we do offline speech to text with our own technology. We have developed the way how to do it for local languages and with very cheap way. And in the beginning, it was a bit hard to explain until we actually showcased it. In the application, there's a lot to write down. Take it clear, make it understandable. People really read that. And during the evaluation process, they will give the points for business items, for the technical side, and it's pity if you lose there, because the measuring system or that kind of metrics will be based on the actual things that you wrote down. Third one would be that explain what is your tech, and it should be in state of the art. So it's not enough if you go there with some simple stuff. It should be a state of the art, and you should explain that how it is state of the art. And if you take the free choice track, you should have a very strong cooperation with your data provider. That you really will have, weekly meetings, even if it's required bi-weekly or something like this. Really, if you take the third track, you need to have very good cooperation with your data provider, and you need to showcase. You need to showcase this willingness of the data provider and the paperwork. It's always larger than you think, at least for us. So those are the ones that I wanted to share with you. If there are any questions during the Q&A, I would be delighted to give you more comments. But I really recommend to apply for the EDI. It's a really super cool program.
Great, thank you, Larry. Really insightful things. Let's be mindful and try to speed it up. So thanks all for hanging in. These are very important words and really good to listen to them. So moving on to Gilberto, I would kindly ask you to share your screen and continue with your insights, please. And then we'll move on to the Q&A at the end.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm Gilberto. I'm a machine learning engineer at Orbem. We are a startup that we are founded in Germany, here in Munich, and we were part of the last year European Data Incubator. Let me first briefly explain what we do in Orbem. We basically work with chicken eggs. I know that doesn't sound really data related, but it actually is, because what we do is to look inside the eggs using magnetic resonance imaging. And after that, we use deep learning for classifying the eggs and identifying two things. I'm sorry, my screen is a bit slow. Yeah, so we identified two things. First, fertility. We want to know if a chicken is going to grow inside an egg or not. And we want to identify sex. So we want to identify if the chicken is going to be male or female. That's because a lot of food is wasted every year because infertile eggs are incubated. And also the chicken industry has to kill a lot of one-day-old male chicks because they are males and they are not useful because they don't lay more eggs. As you can imagine, for training these kind of algorithms, you need a lot of data, and it's not like you can find a lot of public data sets with magnetic resonance images of eggs. So we got into the EDI, and we got through the track 3 also. So the bring your own data provider track. Our data provider is the Technical University of Munich, and they were actually doing a research project about identifying the sex of chickens with magnetic resonance imaging. I will say that our evolution in EDI was really tangible. We got from having just a proof of concept to, at the end of the experiment phase, having a minimum viable product that is implemented in an industrial scale computational unit. We did this adopting some big data tools for improving our AI models, and we also we use these tools for handling the large amounts of data that are required by the poultry industry. And at the end, being in EDI has been enabling us to confirm the impact that we have in the market. So how was the full process of EDI? As you already know, EDI has some phases, and I think, at least in feeling, I will divide them in two. Yeah, at least how they were lived by us. In the first two phases, so in the application and the explore phase, you could feel a lot of competence between startups. So there are a lot of startups that want to be able to go into EDI, and you can feel it. It's very intense. At the end of the explore phase, there's this event in Berlin where you have to present your technical solution to technical people and your business pitch to business people. And being in that kind of ambient with a lot of smart people with innovative ideas can be a bit intimidating, but at the same time, very challenging because challenging and motivating. And the second part will be the experiment and evolve phase. I think all the energy, this competitive energy of the first phases gets redirected into an internal growth feeling. These are the longest phases, and is the phases where you get to develop the MVP and you set the KPIs. And even though you set them with your business coach to be handleable, well, they are still quite challenging. It's a lot of work to develop an MVP in just a few months. About the benefits of EDI, I want to emphasize the very rounded education that one can get in EDI. So they really know what you need to do in order to succeed as a data-driven startup. And as Laurie was saying, the tech part is one thing, but the business part is also huge. And EDI gets you education in every possible aspect, from legal to visualization to data science to marketing, even specific aspects of businesses that are data driven. And I think that that's very valuable. You're in very good hands with EDI. And about the support network, I divided that in two, in the administrative personnel, which we found really helpful, really genuinely supportive, because we were a group of individuals before EDI. So we got founded in the process. And also we were track 3 with our own data provider. And those two things brought some administrative overhead and required a lot of interaction with the EDI personnel that was really open and really clear and smooth. And about the business coach, I will say that this was also for us a very nice experience. We were with Coach Tonchu from the University of Deusto, and he's a very passionate person. And you could see that he was eager to see us grow and not to get stuck as a startup. He was showing a very genuine interest. And yeah, he helped us in every way he can. He has helped us. So in terms of tips, I would like to give you just a couple of them. The first is that also as Lori said, sometimes data-driven companies that are founded by tech people focus too much on the tech And as our business coach has emphasized a lot to us, yeah, the business part can be the difference between having a technology that works and is very good and having a technology that works and is implemented actually in the real world. And I could see in some startups that making this business part of the team, having someone, for example, that has founded some other projects, can be the difference between going into the project and not going into the project. Also, yeah, I agree with Laurie in the terms of paperwork. For us, as we were not an SME, we were a group of individuals. The process was, well, quite painful. Painful is low, I would say. And the same for having our own data provider. And those things are a kind of administrative overhead and some things that worry you that you don't need to have. You will need to better focus on the core of your project. So the best that you can do is to just do it as early as possible and to be as pushy as possible with the people involved. And I think finally I would like to add that EDI it's a tremendous opportunity. It implies a tremendous amount of work. And even if you don't go until the end of the program, I think all the work that is done to get into it and all the formative process that you can get from it is really worth it. And it's a very good opportunity to add value to your project in a very structured manner. And yeah, that's all from me. Thanks.
Awesome, Gilberto. Thanks. Very insightful. So moving on to questions and answers. I remind everyone, please write your name and your startup name and your question in the chat. So we'll read it out now, and one by one, we'll give you the answers. Also, if you want to contact us, you can do so by emailing us at opencall@ediincubator.eu. Please also recommendation, do this, apply on time. Don't wait for the last minute. Basically, do it at your own pace, but also do it in time. So starting with the questions. First question we have from Shauna. So I have a very specific data set that I like to use. We've been collecting it for the past few months. Can we use this data set?
Okay, I can answer, or Diego, if you prefer.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, Sona, you can use this data set, but if you do this, you can go under track 2, for example, mixing this data set with one from EDI, or you could go under track 3. But to go under track 3, you have to go with an external data provider, not yourself. So you could use this data set from another entity, and also using your own data set. Okay, these conditions. I don't know if Diego, you want to add something.
Yeah, I think it's fine what you said. Yes.
Okay.
You cannot be data provider and solution provider at the same time. So if you want to be it, you better mix your data with a data set from EDI in track 2, and in track 3, different entities have to participate.
Cool. Mike from Amadou said, we made it into the last datathon with our own data provider last time, but did not progress beyond that phase. Are we eligible to apply for this call?
Well, the
I'm
answer.
sorry.
Oh, sorry, Diego. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You answer better. You are the World Package 2 leader, the Open Call coordinator. Please.
Okay. Well, you cannot participate anymore if you have been selected in previous calls. It doesn't matter if you reach only the first phase. And also consider that if you were selected through an SME, you cannot apply this time as a group of individuals, or the opposite. Okay, because I saw in the chat a question also about this.
How Yerby said, for track 3, are there conditions for the data provider, whether type of a company, activity, sector, or so on? Is the data provider form submission date same as the application?
Well, I would say that the only condition is that they should also comply with the country eligibility issue. So they must be based on an EU country or an associated country. That's it.
All right. Daria Koshova from AI Booster. I've looked through the list of data providers and data sets. Maybe request an additional data thread from an existing data provider.
I think you can write us an email if you would like some additional fields or even an alternative data set. It's not for sure that the data provider will be able to provide such a data set, but we open you the floor to make these queries. We will forward them to the data providers, and if they think that is a sensible addition to the data set and they have access to it and are willing to share it, then we will reply you.
Thank you, Diego. Yuri K, is it possible to participate with a group of individuals if I were a member of SME before in EDI?
So I would say that if you were already funded under an SME, you cannot be funded again if you apply as a group of individuals.
Yeah, moreover, when you apply as a group of individuals, if you manage to pass to the experiment stage, to the second one, you must have constituted an SME. So, you know, eventually, anyway, that person will be taking part through 2 different SMEs, which is not allowed.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Ahmad says, for track 3, we have a commercial contract with our data provider. Do we still need to submit the form?
So I would say yes, because even if you are already working with them, they have to agree on the participation in this program. So they should be informed and committed, because they will have to provide some evaluation of your work during the program, and perhaps to attend to any event or meeting. So yeah, they have to confirm submitting the form.
Thanks.
Just one comment, because I thought that I read something related to it in the chat. The data provider only shares, the data provider taking part in track 3 only shares data with that solution provider, with that company, not with the rest of the EDI project. So you have like reserved rights or access to the data set of that data provider, okay? This is the main difference between track 3 and the other tracks. In track 1 and track 2, a group of companies can use the data sets from our data providers. In the track 3, only the company that goes with the data provider will have access to that data set.
Excellent. Shauna from KSL. Can we apply with our own bespoke data set? Does that mean we're the data provider?
Okay, I think that we already answered to this person in a previous question. Well, if you want to use your own data set, you should apply under track 2, because as already explained by Diego, under track 3, you cannot be your own data provider. You cannot be data provider and solution provider. So yeah, you should go under track 2.
Thank you, Sarah. Startup AI Fin, question 1. Can we apply with the big data that is freely available in our internet online?
Yes, it's possible.
Question 2, do you accept only registered companies or an early stage non-registered also can apply?
Yes, because it's possible to apply as a group of individuals. So it means that you are not legally established yet. But with the condition that if you reach experiment phase, you have to establish the company mandatory.
Question 3, is there an advantage for an early submission?
No, all the applicants have the same evaluation criteria. Always they submit before the 17th of June at midday, of course.
Question 4, what is F6S and do we need to apply via F6S?
Well, yes, you have to apply via F6S, and this is the platform where we have our form available. So the link and all the information is in our website, and well, that's it, I think.
Thanks. Moving on, from Oscar Marco, is, for example, applying for track 1 better valued than for track 3?
Well, there is a condition also in our guidelines where we explain that for track 3 there is a limitation of maximum proposals selected under this modality. I'm not sure, I'm sorry, I don't remember right now the percentage of proposals that will be funded under track 3, but this is the only, let's say, constraint.
It's 20%, Sarah. This is
Okay.
the limit that we set up. So yeah, because you heard two very good examples of companies today that went to track 3. So yeah, of course you are also welcome to apply to track 3. But the ultimate goal of EDI is to address the real needs of data corporations in Europe, of big corporations that have big data sets. We want to encourage these big corporations to share industrial data. This explains why there is a quota on the number of teams that will be accepted, taking part in track 3, okay?
Thanks. Juan Andres Tejero, I'm part of a group of people who have not yet created a startup. We believe that EDI can be a great start point, and there are some challenges that fits perfectly in our expertise areas. There isn't any impediment to our participation in the program.
No, of course, you can participate as a group of individuals. And regarding the form, how to fill it if you are not a legal entity, the questions in the form, if you are not a legal entity, you don't have to fill all of them. You have to pay attention where you have to fill information depending on your condition of your applicant condition. Okay.
Ahmad from Databoard. This is a question for UBIMET. For track 2, we have our own data, but we need specific data from UBIMET as well. How can we check availability, feasibility data before submission?
Yeah, of course, there are options to do this. I recommend you to contact the program under the open call email address and state your requirements, and the requests will then be forwarded accordingly.
The email is opencall@EDI. So opencall@ediincubator.eu.
That's correct.
From John Egulis, is there a public board or pool of projects / people? I don't have a team yet and would like to find a matching individual or join a project that may lack skills I can provide.
Well, I would say that we don't have this kind of service in the project. I'm sorry.
Carlo from Apt US AI. Can you please specify if the automatic scoring of the application is derived from the data we input in the application?
Well, these are not public. We can not give you more information about these automatic sorting indicators. But of course, these are based on the information of the applicant. And yeah.
Thanks.
And there is the involvement of experts, external experts, that actually evaluate the proposals from the technical and business point of view. So there is an objective process behind that is, in that evaluation, we take into account the opinion of people outside EDI to write the proposals.
Thanks. Daniel from Bayer Instruments. I guess the IPR belongs to the SMEs, so is it usual that data set provider will later pay for the licenses of the successful product?
Well, the solution belongs to the SME or startup, and the data sets belongs to the data provider. After the end of EDI program and the collaboration under the program, it's a decision for the startup and the data provider if they want to come to an agreement about the use of the solution.
Thanks. So from precision navigation systems, we have two questions. The first one, is there any requirements for data provider that could be brought for the challenge? We might try to bring a data provider with us, but they don't know anything about the challenge. Do you have any support materials for attracting data providers, presentation data provider guidelines, and so forth?
Well, I'm not sure if I understand the question. If you apply with your own data provider, you should work with this data provider to propose a challenge that they have. So you should check with them the needs they have, and they could propose a challenge accordingly. So I think that it's key for you to understand their needs and talk to them to be able to propose something. And we don't really have information to share to engage data providers, but of course you have information publicly available in the website to support you in the process.
Thanks. Second question. How can a startup spend the granted funds? Team salary, office rent, purchases, software services, traveling. How do you expect startups to report for these expenses?
Well, of course, it's thought that the funding will be used for the personal resources, the time you dedicate to implement the solution, also for the travels, because if you are selected, as you know, you will have to attend some events, and to other kind of costs you have, equipment or indirect cost, whatever. We are not going to ask you for evidences or invoices. Our payment methodology is based on the achievement of indicators. So always you achieve the objectives we will define with you, you will be paid. So it's objective, how to say, it's based on your achievements.
Thanks. Comment Pablo from KG Intelligence. Is it possible within one application to work on solutions for more than one provider?
Well, I'm not sure if we have a limitation about this. I don't know. What do you think, Diego?
I mean, I don't know if I understood the question that well, but usually you can only apply for one of the ready-made challenges. So if there is a challenge, one company can only apply for one. If you apply for 2 or 3, the one that will be considered for evaluation will be the latest submitted one. I don't know if this is related to the question, but ideally.
Let me repeat the question. So
Yeah.
is it possible within one application, so to work on a solutions for more than one data provider?
Okay, so to address more than one challenge in one application.
Or data provider. I think the question is on the data provider.
Okay, well, not sure if I answering the question, but in one application, you have to focus on one challenge. If you are under track one, only one challenge from one data provider.
Yes. You are applying under track 2, you may be willing to connect one dataset from EDI and external ones that may belong to other organizations, but you have to have the right to be able to use those datasets that are outside the EDI scope. Okay, you will need to prove that.
Moving on, Oscar Marco, can a public institution such as a research institute be a data provider in track 3?
Yes, there's not a restriction. In fact, in the past, we have had the collaboration of universities as a data provider. So yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, that's correct. The Technical University of Berlin and Technical University of Munich have been data providers in the past.
All right. Sam Yerby, for track 3, when is the data provider form due? Is there a review of the data and accept, reject decision on the data?
Well, under track 3, the form is due. Yeah, it must be filled to be eligible for evaluation. It's a condition. Will there be a review of the data and a decision on the data? Well, this form contains information, request of information about the challenge, the data, and also some questions related to GDPR compliance. So if, for example, the GDPR is questions are not compliant with the regulation, it could be rejected. So we check this kind of information. I don't know if this is the question.
Right. From inside out analytics, if we combine an open source data with an EDI data set to solve a ready-made challenge, should we apply via track 1 or via track 2?
If you combine EDI data and open source data, you should go under track 2.
Okay. Well, yeah, that one, Sarah, I'm having doubts. I mean, you saying that to address the challenge in track 1, you would do it better by bringing external data sets from open data nature. I think they are welcome, no? They are welcome.
Sorry, I didn't read the last thing about ready-made challenge. Yeah, you are right, Diego. Yeah.
And before I move on, I want to say that for potential technical difficulties, our meeting might end in 3 minutes because we set it up for 1 hour and 30 minutes, but I'm not sure whether that's going to happen automatically by Zoom. But we can continue with the questions which we do have.
Sorry, Alec, I would suggest that if there are some questions not clarified now because we don't have time, they can write an email with a question to the open call mailbox. So they can ask us and we will later reply to all of them.
Probably that would be the best in terms of basically the time that we definitely went over. And
yeah, I'm going to write the email address in the chat so everybody can copy the email address and
great.
And they can
that would be great. So I would like to thank everyone, and sorry that we interrupted it like this. All the presentations and the slides will be delivered to you via email. We also kindly ask you to send your questions to the provided email in the chat that Sarah will drop now. There will also be another webinar organized but in a month or so, which we invite you to join. And if you have any other questions, make sure to contact us. And just a reminder, make sure to apply on time. Be mindful of all the information provided on the website, and please read all the guidelines for applicants and all the documents provided on the EDI website. It's extremely important to be introduced to everything before clicking the submit button. Diego and Sarah, would you like to add anything?
Just to thank everybody and to let them know that we have an FAQ. Some of those questions are already answered there, but we take note of some of the new questions, and we will also, apart from answering your questions through opencall@edincubator.eu, also update the FAQ when we consider this a common interest question, okay? And thank you for your feedback and your questions.
Thanks, Diego. Well, everyone, have a nice day and stay safe.